And welcome to our Thursday edition of group coaching. I'm your host, Josh. In all seriousness, guys, today is going to be a follow-up of last week's coaching where we got the conversation started about lead generation and actually having a plan. Why is having a plan so important? Because if you have a plan, you're much more likely to actually achieve your goals. And our goals in this industry is achieving as many leads as possible. And if we're performing our lead generation goals religiously each week, then odds are we're going to hit our financial goals. And so as you've heard me preach for 100 weeks on end, our goal every single week is 100 real estate conversations. And how that looks in terms of actually executing that goal is going to be unique for all of us. Some of us got a chance to go down to Cincinnati this week and listen to one of the top leaders in our entire company. His name is Jason Abrams. And there was a portion of the conversation that talked about lead generation. It was instructional here. And he said, if you were to take a look at your last year's business, and this is for people who are like established agents, and you were to determine what were your top 3 sources of business. So on my team, I actually have a codex or so. It's a spreadsheet of the closings that we've had and how we achieve those closings. Like, where did we get that lead from? Where did the business come from? And so if you were to rank your top 3 lead sources, can anyone guess what the top source was? And those that attended this class, don't answer.
Referrals.
Referrals from who? Abigail writes people contacts. So I'm going to assume that you mean people in your sphere. And the answer is correct. That's correct. The number 1 lead generation source, the number 1 piece of business exclusively for almost every single realtor across the nation, whether you're in Central Ohio or you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, is going to be the people that you already know. It's called our sphere. Now, I don't know who said referrals, but that's tied into it as well. So our top 3 lead sources, number 1 is sphere/referrals. Why would that be together? Because odds are your sphere is the one who's sending you the referrals. Anyone guess what the number 2 highest odds for turning into business is for lead generation? I'm just going to tell you, because we have a quiet crew today. Open houses. So if I am a newer agent and these top 2 lead sources are where the majority of agents are closing the most deals from, then I'm going to focus on these top 2 almost exclusively. Now, I'm going to throw in or pepper in some of number 3. And number 3 is going to change for a lot of us. Maybe it's internet sources like online leads. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's door knocking. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever you're passionate about pursuing in terms of lead generation, that needs to also be on our agenda or plan of action for lead generation. For me, I'm gonna throw out like internet leads as being the 3rd source on average for most agents to close deals. Now, this could look different for certain people, but the majority of us are always going to have our top option for lead generation be our sphere. So the reason that I'm not moving on from this conversation from last week, so last week, I know we have a few agents on that weren't on last week's call. What we did last week was we pulled up different lead gen strategies, and we literally sat on that list for like 5 minutes, and you circled what sounded appealing to you. And then we decided, like, how would we go about lead generating and putting those things into a weekly system. A system is something that's easily duplicatable and something you can just wake up and start executing. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single week. And the whole objective of this conversation is to generate leads systematically every single week. So if I know that Sphere, open houses, and internet leads are going to be my bread and butter, my top 3 sources, then how will I break my week down? It's a rhetorical question. Each of you are going to answer this differently. But really what I'm wanting to do is, as a coach of productivity, my job is to follow up on your productivity. So if last week we established what we wanted to do in a lead generation plan, then my job this week is to follow up and say, did you execute it? That thing that we spent, 10 minutes on last week or an hour on a call generating, did you actually execute it this week? I'm going to give you a snapshot of what, if I'm using these 3 lead sources as my bread and butter and the things that I'm going to pursue because I know they'll get me paid, then what should my week look like? I'm going to say Monday is going to be Sphere. And what does that actually look like? A system is very specific. If I'm going to be talking to my Sphere, it doesn't just mean I'm just going to call random people from my phone book. No, it means I'm very systematic about it. And so that looks like DTD2. DTD2, for anyone who doesn't know, is simply choosing 2 letters of the alphabet every single week for 13 weeks. And if today's week is A and W, I'm calling anyone whose last name starts with an A or last name starts with a W. I don't have to talk about real estate necessarily with those individuals, but just me being on the phone with them, I guarantee the conversation will lead to real estate. If you are not willing to call your Sphere, good luck. What you're effectively doing is taking your number 1 lead source and you're throwing it in the trash can. This is an open book test. What Jason Abrams, one of the top people in our entire industry, and definitely in Keller Williams, he says that real estate is simple. He says it's just math. And we don't want to believe that. We want to believe that we should go reinvent the wheel every day. Well, if it's just math, then my math tells me that the proof is in the pudding. And if the proof for everybody is that our Sphere is our number 1 lead source, then I should go hit that lead source. Brad said the quote is, "The path is in the math." I like that. So if Monday is DTD2 and I'm hitting my Sphere, awesome. I have a system that is started. And I don't have to wake up on Monday and wonder what I'm doing. All I have to do is look up what 2 letters is it this week that I should be focusing on. If you are interested in what the DTD2 system looks like, go look it up. It's on the internet. Look up DTD2. Maybe you throw in KW there so it refines the search. But you'll get a 13-week system for who you should be contacting. Take the guesswork out of it. Now, please note, just because I said Monday doesn't mean I'm lead generating all day Monday. If my objective is to achieve 100 real estate conversations every single week, then, and I'm working 5 days, if I divide 100 by 5, I should be making 20 conversations every single day. That doesn't mean leaving 20 messages. That is not a 2-way conversation. It means I'm literally having a voice-to-voice, face-to-face, email to email, text to text. I'm having a 2-way conversation. It's back and forth. Tuesday. I'm not going to hold an open house on a Tuesday. So maybe I focus on following up on any previous internet leads I've received. And what does that mean? It means nurturing. So a lot of internet leads, and you may not be receiving internet leads yet, and that's perfectly fine. If you're interested in receiving internet leads, I had a call 3 weeks ago that was all about internet leads, and it is on our YouTube channel. Feel free to jump over into that YouTube channel and look it up. It was the first week of this year. Internet leads are typically very slow to perform any business with you, but they're going to be especially slow if you never reach out to them. So I have to have a system over time. So if I just started with internet leads this week, maybe I get 1 or 2, maybe 3. That's pretty easy to handle. That's pretty easy to follow up with. It should take me about the span of 3 minutes to do that. But over week, I'm going to be receiving more and more and more internet leads. And if I don't have a system, it's going to be challenging to follow back up with those individuals. So perhaps my system looks like internet leads that I received from January. That's where I'll start. Internet leads that I receive in February. Maybe that's where I'll go after I hit January. And basically, on Tuesday, I'm focusing for 2 hours, 9 to 11, on just hitting all my previous internet leads, following up, asking how they're doing, seeing if they've seen anything on the searches that I've saved for them. Wednesday, maybe I take the day off. I don't do any work on Wednesday. Maybe that's me protecting my time because I know I'm going to work 1 weekend day. My first year in real estate, I would try to hold as many open houses as possible. Well, when are open houses predominantly held? On the weekend. So I don't want to overwork myself. Wednesdays are actually a great day to have off because the majority of the rest of the world doesn't have it off, and you've got free game wherever you want to go. Jumping into Thursday, maybe I finish off my DTD2. Now, some people may have slight anxiety about calling people that they know or don't know. The question then becomes, what can I do to overcome that fear or limitation? The fear is only yours. If you realize that, then it becomes a little bit easier to overcome, meaning the fear is only in your own head. And I've said that before, but hearing Jason Abrams, who's again one of the top leaders in all of our real estate industry, say that exact same thing, to say, when you have a negative thought, it's only your negative thought. So what is leading to that anxiety is probably negativity in your own head about they're going to hang up on me. They're not going to want to talk to me. And this is people that you already know. The DTD2 is catered to people that are already in your database. I hate to say it, but they want to hear from you. They like you. They're not going to hang up on you. It's just in here. We're our own worst enemies. We say no for people all the time. There's some stats out there that say we generate like 75% of our own stress, and it will never come to fruition. We're always thinking worst case scenario. That's what leads to anxiety, right? What gets you over that hump is to pick up the phone and just do it. Make the first call. If you're really struggling with this, make the first call somebody you know loves you. Start with your mom. Start with your dad. Start with a brother. Start with your best friend. Start with the neighbor that you know, love, and trust. Start easy. The first call is the hardest. And then after that, I promise you, every other call will get easier. But in my system here that I'm generating right with you, Monday, DTD2, it's the most important thing, my sphere. Tuesday, we're going to follow up on internet leads. Wednesday, I'm going to take that day off. Thursday, I'm going to get back into my #1 lead source. And I'm just calling people to see how they're doing. I'm checking up on them. Or maybe I've got some fun and exciting news. Or maybe I want to invite them to something. You can have a reason to call, or you don't have to. You can just small talk them. Hey, how's work going? Great. How's work going for you? Actually, I'm loving this real estate industry. Matter of fact, do you happen to know of anybody looking to sell? I know the new year just started and a lot of people have New Year's resolutions. People want to see you succeed, and that's what helps me get over anxiety. Friday, maybe we complement all that we're doing here by trying to bring in a fourth lead source. Maybe we go door knock. As long as I have a system for it and I say, I'm going to door knock once a week every Friday for 2 hours, and I'm going to claim this neighborhood over here as mine, and there's let's say 250 doors. Well, I know I'm going to need 5 weeks hitting 50 doors every single week to reach all 250 of those people. But this is a system. Now, I also know that here in Central Ohio, the market is super duper hot. So I'm not waiting until Sunday to hold my open houses. So Saturday will be open house. My objective Monday through Friday is to find an open house to hold if I don't have in my own listing. Or what's preventing me from pairing up with somebody else who has an open house, just asking, hey, do you need help? I'd love to stand at your front door and just answer questions. It's all about gaining experience. And when you put yourself out there and you gain experience, odds are you'll be successful. And then Sunday, I'm off. It's my day of rest. This is a system. It's a system because I don't have to wake up on Monday and think about what I'm going to be doing. I just wake up and I do it. When I said it's just math earlier, and when I said I'm having this conversation as a continuation of last week's call, it's because I want to make us people of action. Another thing that was talked about at the convention thing on Tuesday was top people in this industry or any industry take data, take facts, conversations like we're having right here. We take it in. We then think about it. And then the majority of people don't pursue that information. Okay. Don't pursue taking action with anything of that information. And those people live a happy, like they're fine. Everything's fine, very average. But the top performers, the people who really make it in every industry, the people who are out there ahead of the curve, making lots of money, finding greater successes, pushing themselves towards greatness, are those that not just take the data in and consider it, think about it, they actually go take action on those things. So if we've attended the last 3 weeks of coaching, all geared towards lead generation, and we've not changed anything, then you're just right where you were January 1. And my goal is to see you take the next step towards your goals, towards your success. So if my goal, a lot of first-year realtors, their goal is simple. Let's sell 1 home every month. Is the work that you're doing leading to that? And if the answer is no, then let's change something. Let's create a system that's duplicatable. Let's work 5 days out of the week. We can't forget, guys, this is a job. It can be a really fun job. I keep bringing up this poker tournament thing that I'm doing. I like this is an example for you to all steal shamelessly, and I'll share some insight into what somebody else is doing here on the call right now. So I like playing poker, and I like having a beer, and I like being in community with other dudes. I'm a guy's guy. I enjoy that stuff. How can I bring that all together and make it a business thing? Well, why not just have a poker night with a bunch of dudes and have a couple drinks, have a couple beers, and bring real estate into the conversation. So what I've done is my real estate company sponsors a poker night with a bunch of dudes, and the food is just something that brings us together, right? Food and drink. It's fun. And because I'm talking about real estate, it's a write-off for tax purposes. And I'm growing my reach. I'm growing my business. I'm very intentional with who I bring around that poker table. There's 10 people, 9 other people aside from myself, that is a captive audience. This past Monday, we had 9 people around the table, and every single one of them stayed for 4 hours. And guess what we talked about? We talked a lot about real estate. And by the time they left, because I provided them with food, beverage, and a good time, they're telling me about real estate opportunities that I should be looking into or that they're going to provide me with. That's how you make this industry, although a job, very fun. We've got Vic on the call, and Vic is currently formulating a plan to have a monthly dinner night where he's very intentional with who he's going to bring around that table. He's going to have 5 people he knows. And in theory, what his goal is, and I love this, is for those 5 people, in order to come, you have to bring one other person that Victor doesn't know. So the byproduct of that is going to be, he's going to get a chance to hang out for a couple hours with 5 people he doesn't know. And at the end of those 5 hours, don't you think he's going to have a better chance of doing business with those people? Absolutely. That's a lead gen thing that is systematic and that he's planning on doing it once a month. I do my poker nights once a month. But how many touches go into that once a month event? Lots of touches, because you're sending invites, you're following up. The night before, you're saying, hey, just a reminder. The day of, you're saying, hey, just a reminder, can't wait to see y'all. And then the actual event happens. That's another touch. And then the event, the next day, you say, thanks so much for coming. I loved meeting y'all. Hey, can I get the contact information for Johnny that you brought? And then that person goes into your database. And then that person becomes a DTD2 for you. That's how we create this snowball effect, right? It's a system. So I hope I'm speaking clearly, because this is the most important thing that we can be talking about. I can tell y'all how to invest in real estate. I can tell y'all about how to do taxes, and we've had coachings on all this stuff. But if we're not talking about how to get you guys paid, then I'm not doing my job. And if I show you the roadmap on how to get paid, which is all lead gen, it's all lead gen. There's no tricks in this career. It's all lead gen. If I show you the path and you don't choose to pursue it, I can't take that personal anymore. I do take this personal, by the way, guys. I want you guys to be successful so bad. And some people just aren't willing to do the work. I can appreciate that there's some anxiety that comes with this. You kill anxiety with just starting and getting over it, and then realizing that it's not actually as bad as you thought. And that's hard for some of us, and I get it. We're only on this call until 1:30. I have another call at 1:30. There's 7 minutes remaining. And what I really want, and I hope that somebody will help me out with, Victor was on the call last week. Sam was on the call. Lauren, Rachel, Hugh, and Brad. Guys, we talked about we took 10 minutes, I think, last week, and we literally sat there in silence and you formulated what your plan was going to look like. I'm not going to bust you out. But would anybody love to volunteer and say what you took away from that call last week and what you've implemented into your system this week? Someone be brave.
Hey, Josh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. I pretty much just took away, just like you were saying, having a plan for everything. One thing that I'm going to start doing is posting more on social media. So, once a week, I'm going to film videos maybe for a couple weeks out and then post them strategically throughout the next couple weeks. So just having a plan to do that.
Cool.
One thing that I took from last week was you said you have to literally schedule out time. So when I get off of work, usually I get home about 5:15, I give myself 30 minutes. So about from 5:45 to 7:45, I'm usually all real estate. And I can say that I've been nurturing my sphere this week, and I can see that it's definitely been helping me.
Love it. And yeah, Hugh works another job. Some of us work other jobs. You have to be really even more so intentional with your time, and you got to block it off. Whether that's a half hour or 2 hours or 3 hour block on the weekend, whatever that looks like, in order to get your 100 real estate conversations. If we don't put on the schedule, it's never going to land. Thank you, guys.
Yes, I do agree with the schedule part of, I have learned that, took that part.
Good. I don't want to glaze over the fact, guys, that I keep talking about calling the people you know. Ask yourself, am I doing that? Am I actually calling the people that I know will give me business, or am I too scared to do that? Have I just said no for people? It's a rhetorical question. You don't need to answer that. But it's the most important question. If you did nothing but focus on just your sphere, and you called them once every 13 weeks, which is once a quarter, you call them 4 times a year. If that's all you did, you'd be in great shape. We've talked about this 201 challenge, getting 201 contacts in your command database. That's just 201 people that you have a phone number and email for. You got their first name, phone number, and email. If you have 201 and you touch those people with a phone call every quarter, and you supplement that with emails, texts, and stuff throughout the year, you should be able to achieve 6-digit income. It's all in the math. The path is in the math. This is just a math game. It's numbers. But you have to do the work that leads to the numbers. If you have 201 contacts in your database, but you never touch them, they're a graveyard. There's nothing happening there. It's probably sounding like I'm beating a dead horse, but the fact of the matter is, if you're willing to call the people that you know, that should be the only main focus. That's why I gave it, notice on this plan, I gave it 2 days. Why? Because it's the most important thing, so I should give it more time. Additionally, when I call everyone on Monday, let's say I have 50 people that are A's or W's. Surely not all 50 people are answering. So what does your script look like? Like maybe this week I'm just being blunt. What I found, guys, is if you're blunt and honest with people and you just say, hey, John Walker, because you're a W. I'm calling everyone systematically this year, and the year just started. And so I'm calling you to say, hey, what are your goals for this year? Do you have any like real estate goals? Oh yeah, how's the family doing? How's the job? If you're bold, luck favors you. If you're willing to just come out and say it, and I understand, Kathy, you said, I just don't want people to feel like, oh, here she goes wanting something again. That's not going to be the case every call. But every once in a while, you do have to be bold and blunt and just say, hey, by the way, John Walker, you know I'm in real estate. I would just love it because I promote you and your electrician business to everyone who will listen. I would love it if you would promote me and my real estate stuff. I want you to succeed. And I trust you want me to succeed. Let's create a partnership. Let's refer each other some business. Just ask for business every once in a while. You can't just pussyfoot around it and expect people to know. You have to sometimes just tell them bluntly. All right, guys. This has been a short call, I know. I apologize for it only being 30 minutes. If you take nothing away from this call, call your sphere, put it into a system, make it duplicatable, actually do the work. Vic, Sam, those folks that are on my team, like I expect the next time we meet up, I want to see your plan and I want to hear the successes that you've had. And I'd love for those that aren't on my direct team, I want to hear the same stuff from you guys. What success do you have? What obstacles are you running into? Cool. Have a great time, guys. I will not be on next week. I am traveling next week at this time, so I will see you in 2 weeks. Have a good week off without your buddy Josh. Talk to y'all later.